The storm had already begun to swallow the horizon when Dr. Adrian Vale stepped through the shimmering archway of the Elyndran royal citadel. Cold sheets of luminous rain hammered the marble terraces, rain that glowed faintly with bioluminescent particles drifting down from the gas giant above. Adrian pulled his coat tighter. His translator flickered, recalibrating itself to the humidity, to the strange harmonic vibration that seemed to hum through every living structure on this planet. He hadn't expected to be summoned. And certainly not like this. "Dr. Vale?" A soft voice called. He turned to see a woman approaching, tall, graceful, silver hair falling down her shoulders like liquid moonlight. Her beauty wasn't ethereal in the exaggerated sense. No elongated ears, no alien distortions. She looked almost human, except for the faint, luminous lines that flowed beneath her skin like starlight tracing invisible rivers. "I'm Leora," she said, "Royal Aide. Her Majesty is waiting for you." Her Majesty. Adrian tried not to show his discomfort. He had served in dozens of alien clinics across the frontier, but Elyndran royalty operated on a level far above anything he'd experienced. Their biology was unique, their emotional regulation intricate, and their politics volatile. Leora led him through curved, crystalline halls, the walls pulsing gently like they were alive. Everything here responded to emotion, to voice, to intention. Even the air seemed to breathe around them. "You look nervous," Leora noted. "Should I be?" Her lips curved slightly. "Only if you intend to lie to her." They stopped in front of a tall door that vibrated with a faint golden resonance. Leora gestured. "Just be honest. She values that more than protocol." The door dissolved, and Adrian's breath caught. The woman inside stood near a transparent balcony overlooking the storm, her form outlined by the lightning that danced through the clouds below. She turned, slow and controlled, and Adrian understood instantly why the Elyndran queen was described in every diplomatic briefing as dangerously captivating. She was beautiful, yes, but not fragile, not delicate. There was a presence to her, a gravity that made his heart tighten for reasons he couldn't name. Her luminous patterns glowed softly beneath her skin, swirling like constellations being born. "You must be Dr. Vale," she said with a calm, melodic voice. "I'm Queen Aeryn." "Your Majesty," he said, bowing slightly. "You requested my expertise." "I requested you," she corrected gently, "specifically." That startled him. "I wasn't aware I'd treated Elyndran royalty before." Aeryn stepped closer, studying him with eyes that seemed to see patterns behind his thoughts. "You repaired an offworlder during the Telshar collapse 6 months ago. A young diplomat caught in a plasma breach. She survived because you remained calm while every other medic panicked." "Oh," Adrian said quietly, "I didn't know she was." "She was my sister," Aeryn said softly. The revelation struck him like a physical weight. Before he could respond, she gestured to the medical platform behind her. "I require a diagnostic today, and your presence. The Council insists on a full examination after the last negotiation incident." "Incident?" Adrian asked, activating his scanner. Aeryn's gaze shifted away toward the storm outside. "Stress, fatigue, political tension. My biology reacts strongly to emotional strain." Adrian nodded. "I'll run preliminary scans." He lifted the device. Aeryn's bioluminescent lines brightened at the same moment he stepped closer, soft gold, then pale blue. Adrian frowned. "That's unusual," he murmured. "What is?" "My scanner is detecting resonance changes. Your patterns are synchronizing with mine." She tilted her head. "Is that dangerous?" "No, just rare. Human neuroelectric signatures don't normally affect Elyndran biofields." "Rare," she repeated, "or impossible." Adrian hesitated. His scanner pulsed in his hand, registering harmonic fluctuations he'd never seen. "This shouldn't be happening," he said quietly. Aeryn's gaze lingered on him, calm, searching, strangely warm. "What does it mean?" "I don't know." And he truly didn't. This kind of resonance only occurred between bonded Elyndrans, mates, family, or individuals deeply linked emotionally. But humans weren't compatible. It wasn't biologically possible. A faint shimmer of color crossed her skin. "Dr. Vale," she said softly, "would you take on my long-term health oversight?" Adrian blinked. Your Majesty, that's a substantial responsibility." "It is." She stepped closer, voice steady. "And I need someone who speaks truth. Someone who does not fear me." He swallowed. "You think I do?" "I think," she said, eyes meeting his, "that you fear disappointing me more than you fear my crown." His throat tightened. He didn't know why that felt so true. Before he could answer, a soft chime echoed. His translator blinked red. Aeryn's luminous patterns flared bright gold. Leora rushed in, breathless. Adrian felt the world tilt, not physically, but in the quiet, seismic way a life changes without permission. The room seemed to breathe around him. The crystalline walls shimmered with shifting light, reacting to the bond the system believed had formed. "I didn't swear anything," Adrian said, fighting to keep his voice steady. "My translator, there must have been a glitch." Leora's expression was apologetic but unmoving. Elyndran systems do not misinterpret binding declarations. They are encoded into the biofield itself. Your voice spoke the words, but your resonance validated them. "My resonance?" Adrian echoed. Aeryn stepped toward him, and the walls responded to her presence by glowing faintly gold, her emotional tone shaping the environment. She looked calm on the surface, but her luminous lines flickered with colors he didn't yet know how to interpret. "When an Elyndran accepts a vow," she said softly, "the bond is not symbolic, it's physiological." Adrian swallowed. Meaning, Aeryn continued, "that your body just initiated a harmonization process with mine." Adrian stared at her. "No, humans don't harmonize with Elyndrans. Our biologies aren't compatible." "Correct," Aeryn said quietly, "which is why this should be impossible." A pulse of light ran through the floor, like the citadel itself was eavesdropping. Leora cleared her throat with diplomatic caution. "Your Majesty, the Council is waiting. The moment the bond was registered, 10 inquiries were filed regarding your status." Aeryn exhaled slowly, luminous lines dimming with stress. "Dr. Vale," she said, "walk with me." Adrian followed her down a curved corridor that looked carved from starlight. The architecture pulsed with her emotional state, subtle gold undertones flickering beneath the walls, as if the whole palace shared a heartbeat with her. They entered a quiet meditation chamber overlooking the storm. The room's atmosphere shifted instantly, warm, still, aware. Aeryn didn't sit. She simply turned to him with an expression that held both apology and something like curiosity. "Your vow," she said softly. "It wasn't merely ceremonial. It triggered the first stage of the Elyndran resonance bond." Adrian rubbed his forehead. "Explain it to me like I'm not a diplomat." A faint smile touched her lips. "I prefer that." She stepped closer, not touching, just near enough that he felt the subtle warmth radiating from her skin, the faint hum of her biofield. "Our people do not pair through tradition or convenience," she said. "We bond through resonance, when two consciousness patterns align in a way that enhances both." Adrian frowned, "But humans don't have resonance patterns." "Not like ours," she agreed. "But evidently you have one compatible with mine." That drew him into silence. The storm outside rumbled softly, as if waiting. "Aeryn," he said carefully, "I didn't intend to form any kind of commitment. My words didn't mean what your system thinks they meant." "I know." Her voice was gentle, honest. "And I would never force a bond on you." Relief washed through Adrian, but then she added quietly, "However, the bond has already begun." His heart stumbled. "What does that mean? Am I in danger?" "No," she said instantly. "If anything, you will experience heightened clarity, emotional stability, and adaptive resilience. Resonance bonds improve health, not diminish it." He exhaled, "And on your end." Aeryn hesitated. That alone frightened him more than any alien biology ever had. "My people are sensitive to emotional imbalance," she said. "A half-formed bond can leave me vulnerable if it isn't stabilized." "Vulnerable how?" "Cognitive fragmentation, biofield volatility, exhaustion." She paused, then added quietly, "Or nothing at all. We don't know. This has never involved a human before." Adrian stared at her, guilt twisting in his gut. "So what do we do?" Aeryn looked out at the storm. Her hair moved slightly, not from wind, but from the subtle bioelectric current that always surrounded her. "There are two options," she said. His pulse quickened. "Option 1," Aeryn continued, "we allow the bond to dissolve naturally. That process may take days or weeks, but it carries risk for me." Adrian nodded slowly. "And option 2." Aeryn met his eyes directly. "We complete the bond." His breath caught. "That sounds like marriage." "It is not marriage in the human sense," she corrected gently. "It is a full synchronization of emotional and physiological patterns. It does not dictate romance. It does not dictate destiny." A pause, "It simply stabilizes the connection." "Between us," Adrian said quietly, "yes." He needed air, but the room breathed with her, not with him, and there was nowhere to run from the truth glowing under her skin. "Aeryn, why me?" he asked. For the first time, her expression softened, not royal, not diplomatic, just human. Because when my sister lay dying, she said, you reached through fire and chaos and told her she wasn't alone. You touched her hand, even when the med team warned the plasma residue could scar you permanently. Adrian blinked. That was standard procedure. No, she whispered. That was compassion, and our people feel compassion like resonance. She stepped closer, just a breath away now. Your presence calmed her just as it calms me. The air between them hummed. Gold light flickered under her skin. Adrian felt something responding in him, an echo, a pull. I don't know what to say, he murmured. You don't need to say anything yet. Aeryn's voice lowered, warm and careful. I only need to know if you're willing to stay until we understand what this connection truly is. A heavy silence filled the chamber. Outside, lightning flared like a heartbeat. Adrian exhaled slowly. I'll stay. The citadel lit up in a ripple of gold, like an exhale of relief from the entire living structure. Aeryn's luminous lines brightened softly. Thank you, Adrian. But before he could respond, the chamber doors burst open and Leora rushed in, eyes wide. Your Majesty, there's a situation. Your biofield readings are spiking again. The Council believes the bond is accelerating, and they're demanding immediate intervention. Aeryn's expression tightened with worry. Adrian felt the hum between them surge, warm, electric, undeniable. What's happening to me? Aeryn whispered, gripping the edge of a crystalline pillar as the light beneath her skin flared painfully bright. Leora, the light swallowed everything. For a moment, Adrian couldn't see the chamber, the storm, the citadel, only the shimmering outline of Aeryn, her form pulsing with unstable radiance. Her luminous patterns rippled chaotically beneath her skin, shifting from gold to white to deep violet in rapid, distressing waves. Stay back, Leora shouted, shielding her eyes as cracks of energy flickered through the air. But Adrian couldn't stay back, not when the resonance continued pulling at him like a living thread. The chamber vibrated with the Queen's dissonance. The walls trembled, the bioorganic pillars flickering with alarm, and a high, crystalline whine permeated the air. Aeryn, he called out, can you hear me? Her silhouette wavered, destabilizing, as though her body were being tugged between two frequencies. Adrian, she breathed, voice fractured with static and pain. That was all he needed. He moved. Leora grabbed his arm in panic. Dr. Vale, you can't. Her resonance is volatile. You could be injured. Or I could help her, Adrian said, pulling free. He stepped into the storm of light. The air crackled around him, raising the hairs on his arms. The scent of ozone filled his lungs. A shockwave nearly knocked him backward, but he forced himself through. Aeryn was on her knees now, gripping the floor, breath shaking. Every light in the chamber dimmed and brightened with her heartbeats, struggling to keep up. Adrian knelt in front of her. Aeryn, look at me. Her eyes lifted, dilated, unfocused, flickering with colors humans couldn't naturally produce. It hurts, she whispered. I know I'm here. He reached for her hands instinctively, and the moment their skin touched, the chamber exploded with sound. A harmonic pulse radiated from them in concentric waves, deep, resonant, almost musical. The destabilization paused, suspended like the universe was holding its breath. Aeryn gasped. Your resonance, she whispered. It's aligning mine. Adrian tightened his grip, grounding her. Then stay with me, focus on my voice. Leora stumbled backward, staring in disbelief. It's stabilizing. By the stars, he's actually stabilizing her biofield. The pulse grew steadier, slower, gentler. Aeryn leaned forward, forehead touching Adrian's shoulder, breath trembling against his neck. You're anchoring me, she whispered, voice clearer now, deeper. You're quieting everything. Adrian exhaled shakily. Just follow the rhythm. Match your breathing to mine. She did, and the resonance began to shift, no longer violent, no longer chaotic. It folded around them, weaving into a single, shared cadence. The chamber lights softened from frantic white to warm gold. Aeryn's luminous patterns calmed, her skin glowing with a softer, more stable light. Slowly, the tremors subsided. The storm outside eased, and the citadel took a quiet, collective breath. Aeryn's voice trembled. I don't understand. Humans shouldn't be able to do this. Humans shouldn't bond with Elyndrans, Adrian said softly. Yet here we are. Her eyes, still glowing faintly, met his. There was something in her expression that hadn't been there before. Not fear, not confusion, something closer to wonder. Why you? She whispered. Adrian didn't answer immediately. He didn't have the scientific explanation yet, but something inside him already knew the emotional truth. Because I care whether you're in pain, he said quietly. Aeryn's breath caught. The resonance pulsed once warm, soft, nearly affectionate. A flush of gold shimmered beneath her skin. Leora cleared her throat awkwardly. Well, if anyone asks, I'll be telling the council that I absolutely tried to follow protocol. Adrian stood slowly, helping Aeryn to her feet. She swayed once and he caught her, hands steady around her arms. Is it over? He asked. No, Aeryn said, but it's contained. Her luminous lines dimmed to a soft glow, calm, stable. Doctor. Vale, Leora said, stepping closer, eyes wide with awe. That was a resonance cascade. Only bonded partners can interrupt one. You saved her. Aeryn's gaze lingered on him. A quiet emotion flickered across her features, gratitude tinged with something deeper. You anchored me, she said. I was just doing what made sense, Adrian replied. Exactly, Aeryn whispered. Leora placed a hand over her chest, a gesture of formal recognition. We need to inform the council. They must understand that the bond is functional and that Dr. Vale is now categorically necessary to Her Majesty's stability. Aeryn stiffened slightly. The council will panic. They will insist on full completion of the bond, or worse, they will try to sever it through force. Adrian blinked. Force. Aeryn's expression hardened. Resonance bonds are delicate. Artificial severance can cause neurological collapse. A pause for me, not you. A cold realization spread through Adrian's chest. They'll risk hurting you to undo what they see as a political liability. Aeryn didn't deny it. Then we're leaving, Adrian said without thinking. Aeryn blinked. Leaving. Just the two of us, somewhere away from council interference, somewhere we can analyze the bond safely. Leora inhaled sharply. Your Majesty, if you leave now, the council will assume. That I've chosen Adrian, Aeryn finished softly. The room fell into stillness. Aeryn turned toward Adrian, searching his face. Would you truly leave the Citadel with me? Risk the political consequences? Adrian's answer was immediate and quiet. If staying puts you in danger, yes. Aeryn closed her eyes for a moment, just long enough to steady whatever storm had moved through her. When she opened them, her voice was soft. Then we go. Leora nodded, determination flashing in her eyes. I'll divert the council and prepare a discreet exit route. Go to the lower atrium. I'll meet you there. She left in a rush of glowing footsteps. Aeryn turned to Adrian, the stormlight reflecting in her eyes. You didn't have to offer that, she said quietly. I know. Her fingers brushed his, barely a touch, but it carried a surge of resonance that made the chamber lights pulse in response. Thank you, she whispered. Adrian allowed himself one breath, one moment of clarity. Wherever this bond leads, he said softly, we'll face it together. You're not alone in this, Aeryn. Something in her glowed warmer, and the Citadel's hallways pulsed with urgent light as Aeryn and Adrian descended toward the lower atrium. The entire palace seemed aware of their movement, bi-organic walls shifting hues as if whispering between themselves. Golden pathways lit up ahead of Aeryn instinctively, guiding her like veins illuminating from within. Does it always react to you like this? Adrian whispered as the floor glowed beneath her steps. It reacts to my emotional field, Aeryn replied softly, and right now it senses danger. They moved past towering crystalline arches as alarms echoed above them. Low, droning tones that made Adrian's chest vibrate. Guards would be mobilizing, council envoys too. The political machinery of Elyndran was swift, structured, and overwhelming, and yet Aeryn looked calm, or rather, calm on the outside. Adrian could sense her fear through the resonance, like a tremor beneath the surface of a still lake. Your heartbeat's rising, he murmured. Aeryn glanced at him, surprised. You can feel that. Yes, like an echo. He exhaled. This bond is more alive than I realized. She held his gaze for a second longer than a queen should. Then footsteps echoed behind them, and she pulled him into motion again. The lower atrium opened like a cavern of light, vast, glowing, filled with floating platforms and transit spheres drifting along magnetized rails. A single sleek vessel hovered near the edge. Elegant, narrow, lined with pale blue illumination. Leora waited beside it, her expression tense. You have maybe 3 minutes before the council security forces reach this level, she said. They're ordering a resonance suppression pulse. Aeryn stiffened. That could injure both of us severely. Adrian felt her pulse spike again, fear, anger, betrayal, all twining into a sharp knot. We're not letting that happen, Leora said quickly. This vessel has no council tracking. It was designed for quiet diplomatic transit. Aeryn stepped closer. You're risking everything by helping us. I serve the crown, Leora said firmly, not the council. Her luminous lines flashed with resolve. Adrian climbed aboard first, helping Aeryn in after him. Leora tapped a sequence of patterns along the hull, and the door sealed with a soft hum. "There's one more thing," Leora said through the closing aperture. She met Adrian's eyes. "Stay close to her, physically. The bond is unstable, and your proximity keeps her from entering Cascade again." Adrian nodded. Aeryn hesitated only a second before adding something she rarely said aloud. "Thank you, Leora." The door sealed fully, and the vessel detached from the citadel like a silent drop of starlight slipping into the night. The cabin lights dimmed to a soft gold as they rose above the glowing city. Elyndra spread beneath them in flowing layers of light, towering spires shaped like unfurling petals, bioluminescent rivers snaking between districts, storm clouds rolling beneath floating platforms. Aeryn settled into a low-gravity seat, breathing deeply as the vessel accelerated. Adrian took the seat across from her, but paused when he saw her expression, controlled, elegant, but trembling faintly along the luminous lines beneath her skin. He moved closer, unsure if he should touch her. "Is it happening again?" he asked softly. "No," she whispered. "Not yet, but the resonance is louder, like it's waiting." He sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders brushed. The moment contact formed, her patterns steadied, like a chaotic signal locking into a clear frequency. "I can't believe the Council would actually risk harming you," Adrian said. "You're their queen." "They serve stability more than leadership," Aeryn replied quietly. "My well-being matters only if it maintains their political equilibrium, but a half-formed human bond." Her voice tightened. "It threatens everything they understand." Adrian hesitated. "Do you regret it, the bond?" Aeryn turned her head slowly. Her luminous eyes traced every emotion in his face with a softness he hadn't seen from her before. "No," she said, too quickly, too honestly. It made Adrian's breath falter. Aeryn looked away, gathering herself. "But I regret the danger it places on you," she continued. "Leaving the Citadel, defying the Council, these actions could be interpreted as treason." "Then we'll make it worth their irritation," Adrian said lightly, trying to ease the tension. But he felt it, her fear, her anger, her exhaustion, vibrating through the bond beneath his calm surface. He shifted closer. "You're not facing this alone," he said quietly. Aeryn's eyes softened again. "Adrian, you've been thrown into something you never asked for." "Maybe," he said, "but I'm still here." Her luminous lines brightened faintly, responding to the sincerity in his voice. Then, the vessel lurched violently. A jolt of gravity slammed them sideways. Alarms blared through the cabin as the lights flickered red. "What was that?" Adrian gasped, grabbing the seat. Aeryn's eyes widened. "They're using a gravitic snare." The ship lurched again as an invisible force pulled it downward. "Can you override it?" Adrian asked. Aeryn was already at the console. "The Council must have deployed a field anchor. They're trying to force us to land." Another violent pull jerked the vessel downward. Screens glowed with warnings. Aeryn braced herself, hands flying across the controls. "Hold on," she shouted. The ship spiraled through the clouds, diving into the storm below. Lightning flashed across the hull. Wind screamed. The gravitic snare pulled harder, dragging them toward a floating district, a sprawling platform suspended by energy fields above the lower atmosphere. They smashed through a cloud bank. Adrian saw the platform rising fast, too fast. "Aeryn." She closed her eyes. "Stay with me, Adrian." Her hand reached blindly for his. He grabbed it. The resonance surged. The ship responded with a sudden burst of acceleration, and the vessel shot sideways, breaking free from the snare for an instant before slamming onto the platform in a violent crash. Metal screeched, light shattered, the world spun. When everything finally stopped moving, silence swallowed the cabin, smoke drifted, lights flickered, gravity stabilized. Adrian groaned, forcing himself upright. "Aeryn, are you?" She was already leaning forward, dazed but conscious. "I'm fine," she whispered. The bond cushioned the impact. He exhaled in relief. Then footsteps echoed outside the ship, multiple footsteps. Aeryn stiffened. "That's not the Council." Adrian frowned. "Then who?" The vessel door was ripped open by a blast of energy, and a group of armored Elyndrans stepped inside, armor dark, markings unfamiliar. Not Council, not Palace Guard. The air inside the crashed vessel thickened as the Separatists stepped in, 6 armored figures, their dark plating etched with shifting crimson lines. Their eyes glowed a pale, hostile blue, and their weapons hummed with charged resonance disruptors. Aeryn's grip tightened around Adrian's hand as if anchoring both of them to one another. The resonance between them pulsed, responding to fear, urgency, and something else, something sharper, protective. Aeryn, Adrian whispered, sliding slightly in front of her without thinking. Stay behind me. Her breath caught surprise, then a flicker of warmth. Adrian, they're armed with resonance cutters. You can't protect me from that. Watch me, he said under his breath. The lead separatist stepped closer, lowering his weapon. Queen Aeryn, he said coldly. You will come with us. The era of the council and its puppet monarchy is over. Aeryn straightened, composure sliding over her features like a royal mantle returning to her shoulders. You're violating planetary sovereignty, she said sharply. Stand down and I will show leniency. The soldier laughed. Your Majesty, you misunderstand. We're not defying your rule. He raised the disruptor. We're ending it. He aimed directly at her. Adrian didn't think. He moved. In one instinctive motion, he stepped in front of her, shielding her body with his own as the separatist fired. A blinding flash filled the cabin. Aeryn screamed, Adrian, no. But the disruptor beam didn't hit him. The instant the weapon discharged, the resonance between Adrian and Aeryn erupted outward in a protective burst, a shimmering wave of golden light that collided with the beam and shattered it midair. The shockwave threw the separatists backward. Adrian staggered, but Aeryn caught him with both hands. Her luminous patterns blazed bright gold. Adrian, she whispered, voice shaking, you just nullified a resonance cutter. He blinked, dizzy. What does that mean? It means, Aeryn breathed, your bond with me is strengthening far faster than the council predicted. The separatists recovered, scrambling to their feet. The leader's gaze darkened. Of course, he snarled. The human is the anomaly. Remove him. Two soldiers rushed forward. Aeryn stepped in front of Adrian this time. You will not touch him, she said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. The resonance flared again, gold fractals rippling across the floor. The separatists hesitated, but the leader barked an order and one soldier lunged for Adrian's arm. Aeryn reacted instinctively. She grabbed the soldier's wrist, and the moment her skin touched the armor, her resonance surged violently, overwhelming the soldier's internal stabilizers. Electric light exploded through his plating. He collapsed instantly. Aeryn stared down at her own glowing hands. I've never done that before. Adrian grabbed her shoulder. Aeryn, your biofield is destabilizing again. No, she whispered, eyes locked on him. This is different. This is amplification. The leader cursed. Fine, take them both. The remaining soldiers charged. Adrian stepped beside Aeryn, shoulder to shoulder. What now? He asked. We synchronize, she said. Trust me. He nodded without hesitation. Aeryn closed her eyes, reaching through the resonance between them, not pulling, not forcing, but aligning. Adrian felt something shift under his skin, a warmth rising through his chest, his heartbeat syncing with hers. His mind clearing into crystalline calm. When her eyes opened again, they glowed with radiant gold. Hold my hand, she said. He did. The resonance erupted. A thunderous harmonic wave blasted through the cabin, gentle to Adrian but devastating to the attackers. The separatists were thrown backward like rag dolls, smashing into the hull and collapsing unconscious. Silence fell. The air shimmered with fading gold particles. Adrian staggered as the connection dimmed back to a manageable level. Aeryn steadied him, her hands warm on his arms. You okay? She asked. I think so, Adrian said breathlessly. What was that? A partially completed resonance bond, Aeryn whispered. Unstable but powerful. Stronger than anything I've ever seen. He exhaled slowly, trying to regain his balance. Aeryn looked at him with a mix of awe and fear. Adrian, this is going to change everything. He met her eyes. It already has. Before either of them could speak, a sharp alarm echoed through the city outside, an unmistakable, resonant klaxon that vibrated through the platform. Aeryn stiffened. That's a council distress siren, she said. Someone saw the resonance surge. Now they know where we are. Adrian's pulse quickened. How long until they get here? Minutes, maybe less. She grabbed his hand, urgency sharpening her voice. There's an emergency lift under the platform. We can use it to reach the lower atmosphere. From there, we can disappear into the storm. Adrian nodded. Lead the way. They ran out of the wrecked vessel and onto the platform, their footsteps echoing as the sirens wailed. The storm above churned violently, dark clouds pulsing with bioluminescent lightning. Aeryn guided him toward a hidden access hatch, but just as they reached it, a familiar voice echoed behind them. Your Majesty, Dr. Vale, stop. They turned. A group of armored Citadel guards stood at the edge of the platform, weapons raised, not separatists this time. Council enforcers. Their armor glowed silver-blue, pristine, authoritative. And at their center stood Councillor Maris, the oldest, most rigid, most unyielding member of the Royal Advisory Body. Aeryn, he said coldly, the Council orders you to step away from the human. Adrian felt Aeryn tense beside him. No, she said. The councillors raised their resonance rifles. Maris' expression didn't change. You have endangered the planetary order. Stand down immediately, or we will be forced to sever the bond. Aeryn's eyes went wide. Severing the bond could kill me. It is a risk we are willing to take, Maris said calmly. Adrian stepped in front of Aeryn, fury rising in him like fire. Adrian didn't move. Aeryn's hand trembled in his grasp, her resonance flickering with fear so sharp it tasted metallic in the air. Councillor Maris stood across the platform, resonance rifle aimed directly at Adrian's chest. His expression was carved from cold stone. Queen Aeryn, he said, every syllable dripping authority, you will surrender the human now. Aeryn stepped in front of Adrian, defiant despite the danger. If you fire that weapon, she said with chilling calm, you won't just destabilize my bond, you will destabilize me. Then so be it, Maris replied. Adrian felt Aeryn's heartbeat spike through their connection, fast, panicked. Her luminous lines flickered violently, the first sign she was slipping toward another cascade. He touched her arm gently. Aeryn, look at me. Her eyes lifted to his, glowing, trembling. Don't let them hurt you, she whispered. Please. Hey, Adrian murmured, stepping closer. I'm not going anywhere. Maris barked a command. Fire on my mark. The guards raised their rifles. Aeryn's breath shattered. Then something snapped inside her. Her biofield erupted. Not in violence, but in raw, unfiltered emotion. A surge of gold light burst outward from her body, and the platform beneath their feet trembled. The storm above crackled in response, bioluminescent lightning spiraling downward like celestial vines. The guards hesitated, shocked by the scale of her resonance. Aeryn, Adrian whispered, gripping her hands, you're losing control, slow down. She shook her head, voice cracking. I can't, not while they're aiming at you. The guards re-aimed. Adrian impulsively wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close, forehead pressing against hers. And without prompting, without calculation, he let himself feel everything. Fear, anger, hope, connection. The resonance heard him. A warm, stabilizing pulse flowed through Aeryn, smoothing her chaotic energy like steady hands calming a trembling flame. Her breath steadied. Her luminous lines softened, her eyes focused. You're safe, Adrian whispered. I promise. Aeryn exhaled a soft, trembling sound, half relief, half disbelief. Maris snarled, enough of this charade. He raised his own disruptor and fired directly at Adrian. Aeryn screamed his name. But the bond reacted first. A shield of golden resonance surged outward, wrapping Adrian and Aeryn in a glowing sphere. The disruptor beam shattered against it like glass. The guards stumbled back. Even Maris froze, his certainty cracking. How? He whispered. How did the resonance defend you both? Aeryn's voice rose, not royal, not diplomatic, something deeper, because he is no longer separate from me. Her resonance brightened, pure gold, because I chose him. A silence rippled across the platform, the storm above stilled. Aeryn stepped forward, her hand still wrapped tightly around Adrian's. You see danger, she continued. You see rebellion, you see a bond you cannot quantify. She glared at Maris, eyes blazing. But what stands before you is evolution, a bond that strengthens both body and mind, a partnership that has already saved my life. Maris gritted his teeth. Queen Aeryn's? No, she said, her voice dropping into lethal calm. You will listen. The resonance obeyed her. The air vibrated with her authority, an order not issued through law, but through the very energy that connected Elyndran life. Adrian felt her strength, her fearlessness, her conviction radiate through the bond. Dr. Vale stabilized a cascade that should have killed me, she said. He defended me against separatist assault. His presence amplifies my resonance. He does not diminish it. Maris' voice shook with frustration. The monarchy cannot hinge on a human anomaly. Adrian stepped forward, surprising even himself. And maybe that's the real issue, he said. You're afraid of anything you can't control. Maris' gaze snapped toward him, venomous. Adrian continued anyway. You risked her life to preserve political order. You were willing to sever a bond you don't understand. just to keep your system intact. Aeryn looked at Adrian with a quiet, blooming awe. Adrian turned back to Maris. Maybe the monarchy doesn't need protection from this bond. Maybe the monarchy needs protection from you. Shock echoed across the guards. Some lowered their weapons unconsciously. Aeryn squeezed Adrian's hand, just once quietly, as if telling him, "I hear you." Then she turned to Maris. "Kneel," she commanded. The resonance shook the air. Maris staggered backward, resisting, but the force of her stabilized biofield overwhelmed his defiance. Every Elyndran guard around him fell to one knee instantly, compelled by the primal authority encoded in their biology. Maris struggled, trembling, then finally collapsed to both knees, bowing his head. Aeryn's voice softened but didn't weaken. "I am your queen. You will not harm him. You will not touch our bond. And you will not dictate the evolution of Elyndran heritage." The storm parted above them, revealing a slice of starlight. Aeryn turned to Adrian, eyes glowing with gentle warmth now. "Adrian," she breathed, "you anchored me when I was breaking. You defended me when the council turned against me, and you trusted me in the moment when most would have run." He swallowed, heart pounding. "You told me I'd fear disappointing you more than your crown. You weren't wrong." Her expression softened, beautiful, vulnerable beneath the glow. "You don't disappoint me," she whispered. There was no grand gesture, no sudden declaration. Just the soft, steady truth glowing quietly between them. Something deeper than chance, deeper than politics, deeper than biology. The resonance pulsed once, warm and complete. The bond no longer flickered, it settled, fully formed. Aeryn inhaled, startled by the sensation. "You felt that too?" Adrian nodded, breathless. "Yeah." They stood together at the center of a calm storm. The queen and the human whose life had collided with hers through mistake, compassion, and something like destiny. Aeryn intertwined her fingers with Adrian's. "Come," she said softly. "We have a world to rebuild and a future to define." "And the council?" Adrian asked. Aeryn's eyes glowed with quiet, confident fire. "They will adapt," she said. "Just as I have." She looked at him, gentle, certain. "Just as we will." And together, hand in hand, they stepped into the new light rising through the storm.